Yes, good. Yeah. Start.
Hi guys, hello Nigerians and hello Nigerians in diaspora. Welcome to a very special edition. As you can see, it's a late night show because we have some really interesting people in the house today. And as per usual, if you read the label, it's a Q&A session slash fundraising. With our presidential candidates.
I'm not a candidate yet.
Aspirant. Okay, presidential.
I don't want to scare other people who might want to run.
Now, presidential aspirant. President, may I start calling him president anyways. So they like it or not. President Omoyele Sowore. So please reshare, do what you do, comment, come online, it's nice. Let's have a wonderful time. It's just going to be for about an hour, 30 minutes. So please don't go anywhere and keep it coming. Hi, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zainab, and having a house today. Some such special people, and you asked us to keep doing the fundraiser until Friday night, so we're just going to keep doing it. But I cannot do without introducing to you Malcolm Fabiyi, who is here to my right. For those of you who attended the University of Lagos, this is your Malcolm, Malcolm X of those days.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and Lesky briefly came in yesterday and barged into our show, but we have him on the show tonight. This Lesky Otunoga, he used to be Malcolm's social secretary, if I'm right.
That's right.
In those days, Lag used to be for Boogie. We didn't boogie that much, it was just all the time we're fighting. But after we left, they kind of balanced it with
Overbalanced.
Anyways, also we have in our midst today, coming on later, the guy from Jalingo who sang that song that you love so much. Sowore. Yeah, come on. Yes, he's in Lagos and he's in the house. We'll bring him on later. So Malcolm, welcome to Take It Back TV. That's what we've been doing since we came back to Nigeria. We do fundraisers every night. We wanted to do one night, and followers said, please, you have to keep doing this until we're sure. And there's been a lot of support. I have to announce to you that within 2 days, I think we raised almost 1.5 million naira within two nights. People are buying into this idea, they're giving the best they can. In addition to people who donated posters, over 10,000 posters donated. A guy donated his house. We just got another donation in Calabar of a full house today, based on this broadcast.
Wow.
People are organizing themselves and calling people. They're fighting on social media to ensure that we keep. Yes, it's just amazing how much people are buying into this and taking this and running on their own. So we just want to bring you on board, being our DG for the campaign, and I always like to say that Malcolm has been a major factor as to the reason where we're at today. Those of you who know him at the chemical engineering department at the University of Lagos, that guy who used to know too much is here with us. Brilliant Malcolm Fabiyi, and he hasn't changed a bit. The same guy used to know, very level-headed, but as you know, he's loaded upstairs, and it's the reason why we can't allow this country to be governed by dummies. Because a country that is blessed with your type, and all the brilliant guys out there, we just have to take our country back and start making it work. So just talk to our people.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It's hard to believe that in just 2 days, at this time on Saturday, we would have pulled off the first convention for our party.
Yes.
And it's just like yesterday, just a little over 8 months ago.
Yes.
When you indicated that you were going to go out and do what a lot of us had actually been hoping you would say you were going to do, which is step out and decide to take Nigeria back. And I remember the first conversations that I had with Lesky. With Lesky. For those who know him as Lesky. We know him as Lesky. The rest of you know him as Lesky.
Yes.
And look, I can't tell you just how excited I am that we're at this point. It's obviously not easy. But here's what I know. I know that Sho just told, well, I call him Sho. So the rest of you know him as Sowore. I've known him for 30 years. I call the guy Sho. And for the 30 years that I've known him, the Sowore that all of you know today, the courageous Sowore, the principled Sowore, the ethical Sowore, the Sowore that wouldn't take no for an answer, the Sowore that knows exactly where he thinks this country should be going, that Sowore has stayed consistent for 30 years. And so it is easy for people like myself and people like Dr. Otunuga to actually rally behind him. He's a leader we were ready to follow 30 years ago. In the 30 years since I've known him, he has become even more of that leader that you can just throw your hat completely in the ring for. So I'm excited by the fact that in just 2 days, we're going to be having a convention.
Yes, on Saturday here in Lagos.
Saturday here in Lagos at the CDC Management Center.
CMD.
Yes. Sorry, CMD Management Center for Management.
What's the D?
And Development.
CDC Center for Decimated.
Center for Management and Development. So we'll be having the first convention of the African Action Congress. AAC. We started a movement that was supposed to concretize all of the plans, actions, ambitions, and programs of the country, and then created our own party, founded and convened by Sowore. I think Nigeria is in for a hell of a ride, and I'm absolutely convinced, given everything that I've seen, that come February 16th, 2019, that we are going to absolutely take it back. I can tell you this for a fact. I've been involved in the political process now for at least 30 years, since we both started as student activists in the University of Lagos. I have never ever seen this level of selflessness from Nigerians. From the beginning, this campaign is run completely by volunteers.
Yes.
Completely by volunteers.
Funded also by volunteers.
Funded by volunteers. There are absolutely no Godfathers, no Godmothers. And for those who, and when you see the level of commitment, I mean, we have a 24/7 campaign. Mm-hmm. When the sun is setting in one part of the world, there's another team that's taking over from them. There's absolutely no single time. As we're speaking to you, the people behind these cameras are also volunteers.
Tons of people way behind the camera.
It's incredible. I have never seen anything like this before. I'm extremely excited about what I've seen. Nigerians from all around the world, Nigerians from all around the country have bought into this. There's obviously a lot more work to be done. A lot has been done already. I mean, where we are now is absolutely incredible. 8 months after, we have a movement, we have a party, we have conventions, we've held congresses in practically every one of 36 states in the country.
Town hall
meetings, over 70 of them so far.
So we've almost reached 100 now.
Almost 100 town hall
events.
meetings. Yes, over 100 events.
Several coming up, rallies, all kinds of
change the nature of the game.
Practically all over the world.
Yes, right. All over the world. Yes.
And so it's just exciting, absolutely exciting.
So maybe we talk to Lesky a little bit. You know, I know you've been traveling for days now just to get to Nigeria. And,
yes. Hi, viewers at home. It's a pleasure to be talking to Nigerians tonight. It's been almost 8 months.
8 months.
Yes.
That this journey started, and I am really proud. Sometimes when I think about, how far we have come within this short space of time, I am moved to tears.
Yeah.
A lot of the time when you talk to Nigerians, people, of our generation, there's this general apathy, this resignation about, Nigeria is not ripe for that, and all of that. And I do tell people, I said, look, I am in a primus position within this movement, and I know what is going on. I see the movement of funds. This is the first time in my adult years in Nigeria that I have seen Nigerians who usually take money from politicians are the ones donating their meager income into this movement. It's amazing. And I ask people, how do you think Sowore gets all the money he used to travel all over the world? How do you think we hold town halls all over the world, not just in Nigeria, all over the world? Where do you think the money is coming from? It's from Nigerians. So I believe Nigerians are awake. Nigerians are ready, you know, to take it back from those who had held this country by the jugular. And I'm so privileged to be part of this movement. When the history of Nigeria is going to be written, when it's finally written, I'm very happy that it is going to be in our lifetime. Before this time, we had always wondered, when will it be? Will it be after we've gone? Will it be in the time of our children? But thank God, Dr. Fabiyi, you remember about 3 years ago, we had a conversation. We had a conversation about a Sowore candidacy. By that time, Sowore was not even thinking about all of this. You know, Dr. Fabiyi said he's known Sowore for about 30 years. I've known him for as much time also. And I always known him. He believes that as activists, that we should be the conscience of the nation, putting the feet of the politicians to the fire and make sure they do the right thing by the people. About 3 years ago, I was having a conversation with Dr. Fabiyi, and I said, you know what, come what may, we have to, you know, find someone, because this is what has happened in our country. You know, a few good people here and there, they have left this, you know, to those who are holding us hostage right now. About 6 years ago, Pastor Adeboye wrote, he gave a sermon, and I would try to quote him from that sermon. He said, I don't know what my children are looking for in politics. They will get their fingers stained. And in response to that, I wrote a piece called The Political Beast. It was published on Star Reporters at that time. And my response to that was this: even in biblical times, the priests were political. They were involved in the making and unmaking of kings and leaders of the people. When good people stay away from politics, evil people take over.
That's right. Make sure I pause.
This is a time of light. The light has come. It's true what Dr. Fabiyi said earlier. Sowore has remained consistent, and that is why people like us could leave our comfort zones, you know, and decide to be part of this. We have known him for that long, and he had never wavered. He's always been the same person, and this is the kind of person that we want to take over our country. This is the kind of person that we want at the helms of affairs. Someone who, at the end of the day, everybody feels like a Nigerian. You know, someone who, when he takes over, a Nigerian in Nigeria, you know, we feel the same, we have the same kind of sense of dignity like a Nigerian in the USA or in Singapore or in Malaysia or any part of the world. It is our time. This is an opportunity that we have. We are putting everything that we have into this. And I am calling on Nigerians. This is not the time to sit on the fence. And most importantly, this is not, APC is not the opposite of PDP, and PDP is not the opposite of APC. They are the same thing. So PDP is not an alternative to APC.
Because PDP is APC and APC is PDP.
Period. Period.
They have two sides of the same
bad
coin. That's right.
Okay, so if you're making a choice, look for the new alternative, the better alternative. AAC is here. That's another thing that put tears in my eyes. It's barely 2 months that we formed AAC, and because of the commitment and the belief and the faith of Nigerians, AAC is even more popular than a lot of parties that have been here for over 20 years.
Yes, that's right.
You know, so we are going somewhere, and I implore Nigerians to come along with us.
Thank you so much, Lesky and Malcolm. Thanks for coming on this show tonight. I know it's been a long day for you guys traveling from the USA, and last Saturday we were in New York.
Yes.
And the next day I packed my things and I came to Nigeria. The next day after you
I
came
don't
to
even know how
Nigeria.
you do it. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I'm going to give you the secret after we win. One of the things I'll be selling after we win is the secret to have the stamina.
Patent it in the name of Nigeria.
So-called complex country that they like to call it when they want to press the panic button in you.
Exactly.
The country is complex.
Exactly.
But when it's time to steal, it's the simplest place to steal from. So, and today we actually had some events. Maybe one. We went to a bookstore in Ikoyi. It's amazing. It's Jazz Hall in Lagos. I think it's Tejo Show. That's that man who's been running the place. And it's amazing how that reinvigorated the conversation about education and what is the difference between literacy and education. And there's this guy who came and he broke it down very well that the moment you are born, you start getting educated, how to run your life, how to go to the bathroom, what's happening around you. And I told him also about how I started getting educated before I could read or write, because I mostly sat on my dad's shoulders and asking questions. So one thing I want to ask you for someone, and I want to blow your cover here. Malcolm, after we graduated from the University of Lagos, had a first class.
Wow.
And moved from the University of Lagos to Cambridge University to do a PhD, right?
Wow.
Directly. So it would be great to ask you, how did you do it?
Did that within 3 years.
You did it within 3 years. And considering that you were expelled, we were expelled together at the time. How did you come back to school, cope with all of that political pressure, being expelled, and then you went to Cambridge? Now, when you got to Cambridge, how did you cope, considering that you're coming from Nigeria, University of Lagos? Tell us the secret.
Can I sneak on in?
Why not?
Okay. In those days, when we do a loot all over the place, a lot of us would be in the student union bus jumping up and down, singing Aluta songs and all that. Once in a while, you just see that Malcolm is not
around.
Then you look at the back of the bus. This guy is studying. He's reading.
I caught him a few times in groups. And one of them, they said, sure, I just have an assignment to complete. And I'm telling him that I do too. So but don't escape us. Tell us, how did you do? How did you make the transition from the chaos that you're coming from, and then go to properly organized education system institutions? Yeah.
So honestly, I think the first thing is what Lesky has said and what you've alluded to is there is an aspect of it that is preparation. But if we leave that to the side, the truth of the matter is that the education that I received in purely public schools, every school that I attended in Nigeria was a public school.
Yeah.
Public primary school, public secondary school, public university.
Yes.
But the quality of the education we received was incredible. It was not until I got to Cambridge that I actually began to really appreciate the quality of the teaching that we had. Yes, we did not have labs.
Yes.
There were certain things that I saw when I was in Cambridge that, for example, I studied chemical engineering. There was a program and a course that I was doing on advanced machinery and pumps. I had, quite frankly, never seen them before. But we had studied them. We had done the theory of them. I understood the theory of it. But the point that I'm making is the quality of our educational system was so good that somebody who graduated from a public school system in Nigeria would fit in naturally
anywhere else. Yes.
I mean, you went to Columbia. Columbia is one of the top 10. It's one of the top 10 universities in the US.
Yes.
How did you manage? It was largely clearly based on what you got from schools in Nigeria. The tragedy of it right now is that we're in a country now where the public school system has been completely
destroyed.
Yes. It's been completely destroyed.
Systematically.
Yeah.
And sometimes you wonder whether it's even been done
systematically,
right?
Because they are not that smart.
No, I think it is. Most of the professors, most of the secondary school principals and all, they are proprietors of schools.
Private schools, yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So I think, and one of the things that I'm excited about on this journey is that, when you look at the plans and programs that the movement and the party, the TIB movement and the party has for education, those of us who, Sowore himself is a product of public schools. So nobody needs to tell him about the importance of the public school system. Yeah. Not just the public school system, but an affordable public school system that's of top quality. Yes. Nobody needs to teach me that. I know the role that public education and public schools have played. Right, and we've also been fortunate to live in societies where you begin to see the importance of not just learning and not just education, but practicalizing the things that you learn. So Nigerians don't lack for degrees.
Oh, yes.
If the number of degrees you had translated into development, we should be one of the most developed countries in the world. Yes, but we're clearly not. Yes. So it means there's a big gap between learning and practicalizing learning. So it's actually interesting that you had that conversation earlier today. Yes. One of the things we need to find a way to do in this country is to take all the learning that we have, all the knowledge that we have, all the people bastardized in this country, they travel. Yes. They put all their stolen funds in foreign countries. They know what those countries look like. They travel there on holidays.
They send their children
to school there.
Schools, yes.
And then they come back and they continue devastating this country. Remember that practically every government official had their own children in school.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I went to FGC Kaduna. In my class, when Buhari was
the head of state,
he had just been kicked out as head of state. His daughter was actually in my classroom.
Wow.
Right? He had a daughter in my class. I had an inspector general of police that had children in my classroom. Ministers of education had children in school. So how would you bastardize institutions that your own children are going to? So one of the things we have to find a way to do is to ensure that those who rule this country
send their children to
must have their own children. They must be invested in the systems.
Yes.
If politicians are forced to use government hospitals, I am pretty sure that the quality of government hospitals will be different.
Yes.
If their children had to go to government schools, the quality of those schools will be different. So those are some things that I think.
place them on minimum wage too, so that the quality of minimum wage will.
That's when you would hear people telling you that 100,000 is too small to be minimum wage. They should at least experience it for a while to know what people go through. But again, I think the bottom line is if you go through a good school system where people teach you what they ought to teach you, where the standards are not local standards but they are global standards. It doesn't matter where you go to in the world, I think you would fit in. And the Nigeria that I grew up in, the schools that I went to, prepared me for every single thing that I've done globally. That's the type of Nigeria that I'm hoping we will be able to birth on this journey.
Absolutely.
And then not just return. It's not just enough to return to some place you used to be at. We must move. We must even move beyond that. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I expect that we will be able to achieve.
One thing people ask, and I want to throw this question to you or here live, is they'll tell you that education cannot be affordable or free. And for those of us who have traveled abroad, who've gone to school in all these big schools, we know that free education is possible in Nigeria. But maybe it's good to hear from another person, who has been at Cambridge, to understand that Malcolm's father wasn't a billionaire when he went to Cambridge. There must have been a system that you benefited from that made it possible for you not to worry about school fees and also perform very well, because they are probably more interested in what you have to offer than what is in your pocket. Tell us.
So I was fortunate to be on a scholarship.
Yeah.
But here's the reality as well. The reality was that many of the people that were in school at the time in the UK, education was mostly free. It's only in the last 10 to 15 years that students have been required to start paying some portion of their fees. So is free education possible? Or is subsidized education possible? I think the answer to that question has already been answered in this country. It has been answered in Nigeria. In the time of Awolowo, the entire western region, we didn't have oil at the time. The only thing that region had was cocoa. And with the meager resources that they had from cocoa, they were able to send practically anybody who was of school age. How much does it take to educate a person?
It costs less to educate a person than to send them to prison.
That's right. So how much does it really cost? If you really want to educate every Nigerian, how many school-age children do we have in this country?
That's 10 million. 10 million are out of school.
Let's even say they were 20 million.
Yes.
20 million of them, and let's say we're allocating at a minimum 10,000 for 20 million people. How much is that? 200 million.
10,000 for 2 million.
Right? Let's even say it was 100,000, 2 billion. 20 billion.
Yes.
That's
20 billion for 10 million kids.
That's what one House of Assembly.
Even if it was 200 billion, let's say it was we were allocating 200 billion naira for the education of Nigeria's children.
10 million of them.
What is the return on investment?
If you did that
in a 10-year period.
So first of all, we're talking about a budget that is right now about 7-8 trillion. Right? 7.8 trillion. And from everything we've done, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, please, you should go check out the manifesto of TIB and the manifesto of the AAC. The expectations that we have would be that in the next 4 or 5 years, already, given where Nigeria is, we already have an economy that rivals that of countries like South Africa that at least know what they're doing. By the time we eliminate corruption,
and we don't know what we're doing yet.
We don't know what we're doing yet, exactly.
Okay.
And then we have somebody like Sowore take over, who knows what the heck he's doing, who knows what it means to cripple and to eradicate corruption, who knows what it means to actually expand businesses and encourage growth. It's easy to see where Nigeria's economy can actually triple or even double.
Yeah.
But let's even say we stayed where we were. 200 billion naira to commit such funds to the education of our children is absolutely nothing. If you look at the monies that were stolen by people like Desiani, just one person stealing almost $1 billion, those funds alone. So anybody that argues or that suggests that free education is not possible, they're lying. Not only are they lying, they are speaking against the reality of what we know has not only been contemplated, but actually done in this country. So it's absolutely possible.
So I was talking to Femi Fallon the other day. He just wrote a book on economic rights. And he said he asked through FOI, Freedom of Information, that the Central Bank of Nigeria, some agencies should reveal how much we have in TED fund. That's the tertiary institution fund. They have 600 billion naira sitting at the Central Bank. They have not touched it. So, and here we are.
Not invested.
They're not invested, but of course, when elections come, they'll go and read it. They are probably giving this to private investors too to be using on their ground, as they usually do. He said he even himself couldn't believe that they would reveal that to him. And you have universities that have, with 2 billion naira, you can build a hostel that will house over 1,000 students in this country. And if you build that in all the federal universities, you build roads, you build library, you build, laboratories, you still have change, plenty of change left from TED fund alone. And that's not, they still have money in education tax. They have all kinds of slush funds out there for education. They have for health at the same time. And the country is just being mismanaged either by outright incompetence or criminal looting of the country. See, that's what is happening. If you go to the NNPC, these guys are frittering away or stealing about 60 billion.
I hear there are secret accounts that nobody knows about. That is not even part of TSA.
So, yes, of course. Buhari started exempting NNPC accounts from TSA. The moment he started putting his family members on the board of NNPC and his chief of staff. So they had to do all those exemptions so that they can look the other way while the same criminal looting is taking place at that place. So it is just about putting in the right people in government in this country. And like someone was asking me today at the bookstore what Nigeria would look like 4 years after we're done. And I said, we will guarantee you 24 hours electricity in 4 years. It is not, we are not bragging. It's not as if we are making it up. We know how, we have already put out the blueprint out there. Unlike the others who we promised, but you can't find a PowerPoint presentation, you don't have the database, you don't have the information. We have provided the information. We are the first political party or movement that provided the manifesto first before we even had a party.
Exactly.
So that nobody's in doubt. Because they used to, you remember those days, where's your manifesto? Show it to us. We put it out there. Nobody can fault us on manifesto.
Right.
Where are your ideas? We put it out there. Instead of faulting us, they start stealing the ideas.
And the problem of the country is just so simple. everything is just about the capitalization of of everything.
You imagine that you want to construct a highway. You want to construct from Lagos to Ibadan. You award the contract to Julius Berger. You ask Julius Berger to go and build you a mansion first.
Yeah.
How do you expect the road to be constructed?
Exactly.
Someone was asking me today, don't I think we should credit Babangida with third mainland base? How do you credit somebody for doing something that he's required to do and for which the country is paying him to do?
Right.
But you look at Babangida, by the time they were done with the bridge, or half done with the bridge, he was more interested in building a mansion. Probably monies that are meant for concrete building of the bridge was diverted, and now the bridge is falling apart.
Right.
In a few years after, it was because they were too much in a haste to steal monies meant for the bridge. But let's even assume that it did the right thing. Why is it that we don't have a fourth mainland bridge today when we have more money than we did when they built the third mainland bridge, or a fifth or sixth even, or all kinds of bridges, or a second
Niger East-West highway across Nigeria?
These guys are so incompetent; they cannot start and complete anything. Even when they complete things, is always incomplete. You heard about Ghana; they just had some of the best airport terminals. Sierra Leone just did that. Somebody was telling us who came from South Africa yesterday, traveled through Rwanda Air, and didn't want to get out of the plane because it was so cozy and new and beautiful. And here you are in Nigeria. We couldn't even complete the process of creating an airline on Facebook. I'm not saying on land now.
But we all knew as soon as they announced, everybody knew.
We said it. We all knew it was a scam. It was a scam. Yeah. So government is a scam in this country. So I don't want to hold you guys any longer. I want to thank you for coming on the show, and we will of course be back, and we invite people to come to our convention this weekend, Saturday. And also, we want to urge supporters and viewers, so please donate to us. Zenab, tell the people.
Okay, so guys, you know how we do it. You don't have to be a Nigerian to donate. You can be anything, Lebanese, Chinese. I don't care. So far as you like my face, so far as you like the movement.
And they can donate with any currency.
Yes,
just like they do in British Airways.
But me, I like dollars, pounds, and euros more than naira.
You must like naira. What is stop?
So no, when we get into power, we can say $1 is equal to 1 naira.
We can calibrate the currency.
Then I would like now, but for now, So guys, please keep sharing this. We're just at 72. What are you saying?
374.
374. Come on, we can do better. We've had 1K views, so don't.
Yesterday when we were with Sheon Kuti, we
share,
1K
guys.
views. So that's why we tell them that our new currency is ideas, and they saw it yesterday with Sheon Kuti. They've seen it with Malcolm here today. Lesky. When you start hearing from people that have fresh ideas, it probably start making you feel good even before the election. That you can at least have people who are going to run the country, who are planning to, make this country work, who you can relate to. You can understand at least they can verbalize their ideas. With the other guys, they never talk to anybody. They come to a rally, just throw naira, they wave after 30 minutes.
I mean, we've had over almost 100 town halls.
Yes.
This is the first time that a presidential candidate is going around not just the country but the world, speaking to Nigerians and telling them exactly what he wants to do.
Yes.
As Sowore just told you, before he ever stepped out to start talking about his plans, a complete manifesto was available. It not only talks about, and honestly, I'm really, the direction and the leadership you gave for that thing to come out, it doesn't only talk about the plans and programs, it also talks about how everything gets paid for.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because it's easy for you to say you want to do something. How you're going to pay for it is something nobody is probably almost as important as the fact that you want to do it. Because the excuse we keep hearing is, we had these great plans, but it turned out we didn't have enough money. So money or no money, economy booming or not booming, oil selling at $100 a barrel or not, these plans, how they get paid for is absolutely no. The other critical thing is this, talking about ideas. We would hope that Sowore is ready to debate anybody at any time.
Yes.
So we're throwing it out there. We are asking, because our expectation is that at the end of the day, they haven't held their convention yet.
Yes.
But whoever emerges on the platform of the APC, we think that is likely, obviously, to be Buhari. And whoever emerges on the platform of the PDP, we are inviting them to a debate anywhere and anytime with Omoyele Sowore, whom we expect to be the presidential candidate by this time on Saturday of the AAC.
And no one should send their vice president.
No, we don't want any VPs.
Their VPs will challenge, will debate
our own vice presidential candidate. So it has to be a battle for ideas. No, seriously speaking, we have tolerated mediocrity for too long in this country.
Yes.
And if you tolerate mediocrity, you will basically condemn yourself to mediocrity.
That's right.
Let those who want to rule this country, let them come and battle out the ideas. Let them tell us exactly what it is they want to do.
And let us appeal to Nigerians. One thing that we have seen is that Nigerians, we are very resilient and we are go-getters. Look at education, for instance. Nigerians, it has become a culture in families to be educated because we imbibe the idea, we love it, and we give all we have to it. In the US, for instance, the group with the most educated members are Nigerians in the US. The records are there. Not only are we educated in the US, we educate our kids. Most of them leave college student loan free. You know,
doing so well.
Nigerian families will go to any length to make sure that their children finish school without loans. It's on record.
Yes.
Now, we need to internalize the same thing about politics in Nigeria. We need to turn it to a culture. Be involved. Get involved. Participate in the process. Be sure to determine who becomes your leader.
Yes.
Look, if we all get involved, if we are all involved, if we are passionate about politics in Nigeria, if the day of election is not the day we take a rest from year-long, activities and all that, if that is not the day we eat jollof rice and drink wine, if we can step out and become part of the process, it becomes easier. Right now, we have considered it too long. The people who come to the polling booths are people who can be manipulated. There are people who will jump up at 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira. But guess what? The ones who cannot be bought with 3,000 naira, they are more than those who can be bought with 3,000. What are we doing?
They don't come out.
What are we doing sitting down at home? Let us come out, be part of the process. But before we become part of the process, if it's a primary school teacher or a retired police officer in your neighborhood that you know this man is a man of integrity, fish him out, sponsor the man. Sponsor them to political positions. That is how we can salvage this country. Enough of armchair politicizing. Let's be part of the process.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Like I said, I want you to be able to go rest a little bit, and we'll bring in our next guest, who's the musician from Taraba, Jalingo, for that matter.
All the way.
Yes, he's coming to the convention. He came to the convention, just arrived not too long ago. But before we go, do you guys have we have any questions for Malcolm?
No, I have not for him though. I have J-Boy here says, I donated 10K last night.
Okay.
His name is
Beautiful.
Femi Joseph.
Yeah.
Thank you, JJ. JJ is
J-Boy, you said?
Yes.
Thank you, J-Boy. Thank you so much. So before we bring in our next guest, we'll just do our usual, plea for donations. And you want to put in our account numbers. Our Zenith Bank account number is 100-602-3871. Zenith Bank account number 100-602-3871. And our GoFundMe account, where you can make deposits wherever you may be with a credit card, is gofundme.com/Sowore2019.
Nigerians, take note of that.
Yes.
It's not looking in the live way and it's taking the account number. That is the kind of president you need.
Yes,
that's right.
I can remember a lot more than any of the presidents we've had. Numbers, though, but if I'm feeling anyway, Malcolm is a mathematician.
Abi.
So that's good, because sometimes people ask this question, and on a serious note now, and I'm glad that you're here. They ask us, so when are we going to find out the people behind you? Are you going to ever let us know your team members? And I keep threatening them that
You
if
tell
you
them
find
there
out,
are thousands.
of course, if
You
you find
tell
out the
them
people behind us,
if you could see,
Do you tell them there are
if you
thousands
see,
and
if you see
thousands?
people working in the warehouse of ideas,
it's incredible.
you know, you would just
The
not
guys
even
at the
think
Silicon
twice.
Valley,
Yes.
the guys who are tunnel
we
engineers,
had people from
the-
Microsoft, Facebook,
Jesus.
VMware,
Google, everybody
IBM,
contributing ideas to us.
Yes.
And,
all over the world.
and they're doing it for free.
All
You
over
know,
the
we
world.
have medical
It's incredible.
doctors,
Yes.
we have soldiers,
Lawyers.
lawyers, everybody, security experts
incredible.
all over the world.
In
and within
Nigeria,
Nigeria too.
outside
Yes.
Nigeria, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Who are all contributing ideas and
incredible.
saying, look, do not give up because this is the best time to keep
Right.
these guys
And
out.
it's so amazing how many people are ready to come back pro bono.
Oh yes,
And do what you know how to do best.
You don't know how
To
many
take
town
this
hall meetings
country.
will be in town. I do
It's
live.
so
I said,
amazing.
If you
It's
win,
so amazing.
I'm buying my ticket. I'm heading to Nigeria the next
Right.
day. That's,
And they are not asking for anything.
no. This yes.
You might have to get your Zenith Bank phone. But Patos said, I donated 10K. Did you say?
Just now,
I think so.
I have not seen it. I see a reminder here that I have.
I'm sure Pat is not lying. Tell Pat thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Pat. Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. I'm sure if it's not coming in, it's because the network is still.
Yes. And that's one of the
Absolutely
things we have to
funky.
take back, our network.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. All right.
So thank you so much, Malcolm. Lesky for coming.
Thank you for inviting us to
Yes.
Thank you
this-
so much.
To our couch. Yeah.
speak
As
to
our
Nigeria.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, okay.
talking
This is
to
our couch.
Nigerians.
Take it back out.
This is the take it back out. Okay.
Thank
You
you.
can send money to it from USA, Adigoke Jones. You can
Yes.
send to the Zenith Bank.
And also, people ask for the number to. So sometimes when you send money, you might need to reach us by phone. This is my telephone here, and my telephone number is 0818-823-7529. 0818-823-7529. You can
And it's
send
not
me
going to
WhatsApp.
change when you become the president. Tell them.
No, it's
We
not.
know it's not.
It's
You
not.
need to
I've not
tell
changed
them.
my number in a long time. I
Yeah.
may not be able to take all the calls coming in. WhatsApp messages I've preferred.
So now
because-
will take care of that and say,
and I can't trust people with my phone.
that's what Obama said.
Yes.
That's
That
what
is the
Obama
same
said. The
for
Secret
what-
Service had to take it from me.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
No, I'm Felis.
But somebody wrote here that this is meant for Malcolm. It says somebody is mentioning your name a lot.
Oh.
Kajeton Yema says, Malcolm, I salute you.
Those are your
I
classmates.
salute you back. Oh yes, I salute you back.
Yes, that's fantastic.
It has taken Sowore to pull some of us out of our holes.
Then Kule says some people. You said you also met some guys who were coming.
Oh yeah,
in the plane.
there were people on the plane coming for the
to this
convention.
Wow.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
All the way from
I
the
met
United
people on the plane
International
coming for the
convention,
convention.
man.
It's incredible.
Incredible. Thank you so much for
All right.
coming. And we will be back on the couch again with a guy who is from Taraba. So you international guys can
We will be glad to.
Let's deal with our real people here.
Oh yeah, regional guys.
So before he shows up, okay, he's here almost. We want to do a little fundraising. We want to talk about the taxes that we're raising funds with. So we have this one where we're raising naira, and it's 10,000 naira that we expect from 1,000 people. I think we've reached 20 people so far. 20 people times 10,000. How much is that? That is like 200,000.
Yes.
Yeah. But there are people who have donated more. We've had people donate 200,000. I think we raised over 1.5 million naira in the last 2 days. Now, our goal is to raise 10 million between that day we started and Saturday. 10 million is what we're trying to raise. We haven't reached there quite yet, but we've reached almost 2 million at this point. We have 8 million naira to go on our Zenith Bank account. GoFundMe has been coming in steadily as well. Not as much as we want, but I think at this point we probably reached already close to $80,000 on GoFundMe. GoFundMe, let me check our GoFundMe account and see how far we have gone. To have GoFundMe app here, hopefully it's connected and we can check how much we've made.